Good day, friends. Now, it has been difficult to get into the workshop today because I have had quite a few good gifts delivered. I've had some distortion boxes delivered over this last week, but I've pried myself away from my guitars and playing about and moving on to a new project. And there you go. And it looks a bit worse for wear, looks a bit tatty, this guitar. Don't let that fool you. It's an Epiphone SG. It's a G400 model, not the G400 Plus, just the G400. And there you go, back's off, I've taken that off. It's grubby, it's dirty, it needs a clean, but it's come in and it's having an overhaul. We are going to install some EMG active Kerry King pickups, 8185 set, with, I believe, a boost, a signal boost switch going in there as well, which is part of the kit. I've been having a look, seeing how we're going to fit this. I don't know where this is going to go, but this is a switch. Some kind of boost or something. The instructions are pretty vague. We tell you how to install it. We show you how to install it. We don't tell you anything, but we don't tell you what it does or blah blah blah. Only one problem with this is the PCB on this is deeper than the cavity in the body of the guitar. This is why I've got the back off. So I'm going to have to very carefully route a small area to make the cavity, or the part of the cavity this is going to go in, to make it deep enough to install this. Now I don't know where I'm going to put that, but I'm thinking probably the best place is going to be between these two volumes here and this three-way switch. So I'm thinking of here. Now the thing is with this, we don't know how thick this part is where it's been routed out. Well, I do know how thick it is, about 4 mil. But I'm going to need to probably go in another 2 mil. Now I don't want to go in too deep, because if I do, I'm going to bust out this top here, and we certainly don't want to do that. So I might actually, once I've got all these gubbins out, I might actually just go in with a chisel, and I might just spin the chisel. I could go in with a Forstner bit on the drill press, ever so slightly. That is an idea as well. That's probably what I'm going to do. I'm not quite sure yet. The problem with these, you've got to keep the neck on the guitar, so you've got to be, the weight of the neck, and have this, then use your drill, and that ain't going to work. So, dare I do it by hand? I'll be honest. No, I dare not. So I may just do it with a chisel. I might do it completely by hand. No electronic tools or power tools at all. That might actually be better. So all this gubbins is coming out, all the original stuff. I do believe it's a China-made one, because the serial number on the back is all numbers. I think it's a 2014. So it would be a China-made one, definitely. Grover tuners on the back there, by the way. Very nice. Pickups will be this Hot Custom and the CH57. Nothing to write home about. Pots, just standard. Oh, but alpha pots. Alpha pots are always quite okay. The only thing I'll be using out of this is the three-way switch. Everything else will be being taken out. Now, something else this guitar needs. It's going to need a fret level. I checked the frets while the client was here. And we've got the neck more or less straight. I just loosened the strings off, so it went more or less straight. We went across with fret rocker, 8 high frets. So he's already said, yeah, okay, how much is that going to cost? Well, I said, oh, whatever. So I've quoted him a price with the fret level, with everything installed, me doing all the drilling, all the fixing and the polishing. I've quoted him quite a bit under 200 quid. So he's happy with that, totally happy with that. So I've been given the go-ahead to do the job. Not daunting at all, it's pretty straightforward. The only difficult thing I've really got to do is this. Everything else, all the EMG stuff, this is completely, bar, I believe, the jack, I think everything's solderless. I installed a set like this on my own SG a couple of months ago, so I'm pretty familiar with what needs to be done. It's just this little thing. There's a trim pot there, by the way, which is fantastic. So you're going to be able to get to the trim pot by removing the cover. I don't know what that does. Again, something else I'll have to find out. But anyway, that's it. So I'm going to, once I've figured out where I'm going to install this, we can crack on and get this done. Something else I just noticed, there's a 5-ply pickguard there. That's interesting. That looks pretty good. Looks twice as thick as it is. It is still about, it's about 4 mil thick. Pretty good. So there you go. Nice looking guitar. I'm just going to plug it in, make sure everything is working. Not that it matters, because all this crap's coming out. But I'm nosy like that. So I'm going to crack on. I'm going to gut the thing, Going to clean up the bridge and the tailpiece. I'll be removing the nut, checking that the truss rod works. I'll do that before I remove everything. I'll be removing the nut as well, and the first thing we're going to do, I think, is get these frets levelled. They're not that good a fret. There's not much meat on them either. Personally, myself, I'd refret that, but why? It's going to cost you, we're going to be looking at 3,500 quid. Would you want to spend 3,500 quid on an Epiphone? Best thing to do is get it playing, get them levelled, get it playing. I am going to tap all these frets in with a fretting hammer actually before I level them, because if we're under 5 I won't have to level all of them. So we'll do whatever is cost effective and best all round. Why do a complete fret level when we can just tap a few in? You know, so that's what we're going to do. So leave it with me. I'm just going to test a couple of things. Once that's done, we'll rip all the guts out and we'll get this neck set straight, and we'll come back and we'll have a look at the frets. That's going to be the first job. So, cracking on. I've gutted the guitar, ripped everything out of it. Not ripped, removed everything from it. Going to take this off in a minute, but we're going to first remove the nut. So removing the nut, quite simple, but you've got to be careful. We're going to cut where the nut meets the headstock with a sharp Stanley blade, Stanley knife, because we're going to knock it off from the far side, and we need to make sure there's no lacquer build up or no glue build up, because I've knocked these off before and I've took a big chunk of headstock with it, and it cost me a lot of money to get them repaired. So I've just cut through that. I'm going to take something like a nut straight edge. I'm just going to tap it. And there you go, that's a nut straight out. How's that for you? Don't always come out that easy. But that's straight out, beautiful. We could look at replacing the nut, but that seems, it's a decent piece of plastic. It's not crappy plastic, it's tough, hard plastic. It's not going to cause any problems. I'll talk to the owner and see what it says. So that's the nut removed. So now we can set the neck dead straight and check these frets. I'm going to check the frets with the camera at that angle. Then I'm going to move it over to this bench and we're going to get it level with the neck, and we're going to go across and you're going to see everything that I do on this guitar, because this will be part of the appraisal video for the client. And just before I crack on, I could do with cleaning this up. Just going to give it a quick squirt of naphtha. Well, we don't have naphtha in England, but we do, but it's basically it's a Zippo lighter fluid. It's just pure naphtha. It's what we call naphtha in the United States. And it's good for cleaning and getting rid of shite, because the guitar is dirty. Just to clean it up, make it look nice. You seem to work on them better when they look nicer. Oh, look at that, beautiful, it's like a new guitar. Let me just show you this in a second. When the lad gets this back, young Sam there, he will be blown away, because it will look like a new guitar. But let's just, now as we're looking now, a lot better than when it came in, eh? So we're going to set the neck straight. I'm going to need a 4mm adjuster. I always go for a T-bar adjuster. People have been asking where these are made by. These are made by Nielsen. Nielsen tools, they're cheap. Well, they're not expensive. They're not nearly as expensive as Snap-on or Mac tools, but they are lifetime guaranteed. Nielsen, I've been buying them for years. And that's a T-bar, 4mm, and we've got the truss rod working, which is great. So we're just going to set this neck dead straight. We may have to alter the truss rod one way or another. Now, that's with the truss rod. It's a two-way truss rod. That's in the loose area, or neutral. And that neck should be straight when it's in the neutral position like that. And it is, more or less. Yeah, that's good, it's looking good. Wants a tiny nip, so we're just going to nip it. That's loose. That's just nipping there. I'm just going to give it a little turn. Going to give it that much. That should be enough to straighten the neck. And that, my friends, is a straight neck. Just a tiny, just a little bit more. Yep. And there we go. We've got that neck dead straight. A little bit cocking up here, so we're just going to nip it back a bit. Just give it again. Yep. Happy with that? That's fantastic. So with a straight neck, let's hit fret rocker. So called because if we get a rock, it means we've got a high fret. Now fret rocker, 4-sided, just a quick explanation. 4 sides, machined, milled and cut perfectly flat over a great length. And with this we always check 3 frets, that's why we've got 4 lengths, because we can check all 3 there, coming this way all 3 there, turn it again when you get up, 3 there, and at this end 3 there. And with the neck straight, if we get a rock, we know that fret is high. So we've got one there already, I already knew about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark these frets. And I have 3 areas I'm going to measure. I've got the middle, which I'll call 2, the far side, which I'll call 1, middle 2, closest to me 3. And I do that for a reason, it's so I can write a map out or a key. So just the middle area of that one. I'm going to do this for all the frets. Area 1 on that one. So already 3 frets have already got high spots on all 3 of those. See, these frets are all over the place. Now the lad has had this guitar for a while, but he's never bothered with it, but he was told that it's a pretty good guitar. It is a pretty good guitar. It can be an amazing guitar when I've done it. I've got one of these myself. Now I have an early Korean one. This is a later Chinese one, but these frets are all over the place. Every one of these is rocking, so we are going to level the lot. Like I say, every one so far. We've got a level one, there you go. Yeah, all of these frets. So we're going to level a lot. I am going to still tap them down with a fretting hammer. Not that, that's just because, wow, that's a bad one. So we get them all seated nicely. But all of these frets, bar that one so far, is all even. That one's okay. High again. I don't know how to get away with this. So we're going to level the lot. I kind of knew we were going to level the lot anyway. When I get a guitar in, I already know, I more or less know about what it is, if it's going to need fret work. Wow, these are all over the place. I'm not even going to count these. It's just about all of them. I am, however, going to move the camera in a minute. That one, that's as high as a kite, this one. I showed him this one when he was here. I can see it actually uplifted. I can see it's got a hump. So that's not going to show any great height. So let's just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 frets out of 22 have high spots. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a fretting hammer, a box them up so I know where they are. We're going to knock them all down using a nylon end, and we're going to knock them all down, and I'm going to go and check them again. This may fix some of them. So I've knocked all of the frets back in. I'm not going to knock them in any more than that. If they're still high, they're still high. So let's check again. Just check that the neck is straight again. Yep, absolutely tickety boo with that. fret rocker again, and now we're going to check them again. Still high, still high, still high. That one seems better. That one's better. Oh no, still high on the edge. That one's better. That seems better. See what I mean? Not as many now. A little bit high there. So we're still going to go with a full fret level, but we now know that all the frets are well seated. That is a lot better than it was. Still high. Still as high as a kite. So I think 5 or 6 of them are absolutely fine now, but we've still got 7 or 8 high ones, so we are going to level the lot. I will be doing this with just running a leveling beam across there. Maybe I'll run a file across there first just to make sure everything's level. I'm going to get the leveling beams out. I'm going to do it all here right now. Leveling beam of choice is my Crimson Guitars. How this works is this edge and this edge are milled perfectly flat. I have some 240 grit on that side, 400 grit sandpaper on that side. I'm going to be leveling it with 400 grit, smoothing it. We're leveling it with a 240 grit and smoothing it off with the 400 grit. I'll be following the radius. So where I come this way, I'll be overlapping just there because we're following this exact radius. We always keep the bar straight. So again, I'm going to do this now live. There's no point in faffing about and holding back. Right, that neck is dead straight. I was going to put the camera down here so you could just see me going with a fret rocker, but you've seen it live now, and I wouldn't be leveling these frets if the neck wasn't exactly straight or perfectly straight. So I'm just going to wipe that down, and that's it. I'm going to start straight away, 240 grit, and we're going to level these frets. We're not going to be removing a great deal of material, but like I said, when we follow this radius, we're going to overlap at this end because we're following all of the radius from the widest part. And what I'm looking to do is remove the tops of all of the frets. Not too much because they don't have any great height left from them. Well, I can see how much material I've removed. I want to get it uniform. We get the same amount moved up this end. It's looking pretty good. Not pressing down very great shakes. I mean, I'm pressing down enough just to hold the beam on there. And that's looking pretty good. We have material removed from the top of all of the frets, bar this one. That's one we hammered in. So what we're going to do is we're going to brush off all of this. Bring you in just a little bit closer. There you go. And what we're going to do is we're going to mark up all of the frets. Black pen. Remind myself to get a new one of these. This one's about to run out. Now these frets are not very high, so it's not leaving me a lot of material to recrown them. So I've got to be careful I don't go too low. If I can't recrown them, we're going to be replacing them. And there you go. And what we're going to do is, I've been across with a 240 grit, we're now going to go across with a 400 grit to smooth everything off. Just going to clean this up. So 400 grit this side. And all being well, if we've got them level, we'll remove this pen really quite quickly. And that is all of the pen removed. Just concentrate on this area here. A little bit of pen on this middle one. And that is all of the pen removed from all of the frets. Not sure if you can see from there or not. I'll just turn it around and just show you. It means that we have now got the frets level. And because we flattened the tops this way, tops are now flat, we're going to have to recrown them. That's another job for a little bit later, but what we're going to do first is we are going to check that the frets are now level, that we get no rock anywhere. And they should be level. I will certainly in the future be looking at getting this refretted, going with some higher fret wire. I may give them a shout. I'm going to measure the height of these frets surely, and if they are low, like I'm talking 0.7, 0.8 millimeters, I might say to them, look, go for a refret, because it's going to future proof it for 20 odd years, and I'll cut him a deal. Now, a refret on its own should be 200 quid, but I'll be quite happy to do everything for him for 250, including installing all the pickups and doing all the electrics. It's only £70 more than he was going to be paying anyway. But anyway, let's see where we are, because if we're going to get away with leveling the frets like we have done, just see what I think. They are low. I'm going to measure this fret down this end. The frets are level, by the way. Really pleased with that. I have a brand new tool to show you in a second. It's a digital caliper from Stumac. I know we're losing the light a little bit now, so I'm going to nip on a little bit. It's a digital caliper from Stumac. I do have a digital caliper, but it wasn't from Stumac. But the good thing about this is it has a slot in there for measuring frets and the tank on frets, but it also has, let's turn it on. It also has a depth measuring tool here. So I'm going to set that to 0, and then I'm going to measure the height of this fret. And there you go, the height of the fret is 0.94 millimeters. That's plenty of height on there for recrowning, so we haven't got to worry about doing a refret. Again, let's look again. I'll set it to 0. So I need to straighten it first, then set it to 0. I'm not thinking straight, am I? There you go. Set it to 0 and measure the first fret. And there you go. 0.94 millimeters. How good is that? I'll check some at the other end. Zero that. Go and check this one. This is 0.87. So we're lower at this end. Oh no, it's not. It's 0.98. There you go. So we've got a uniform height along the whole length of the neck. That's fantastic news. So turn that off. So we've got plenty of height to recrown them. So 0.94 mil, so just under 1 millimeter. Very happy with that. Just want to check this one next door. Yep, that's good. That's good. So I'm going to get this all taped up, ready to crown. But I'm going to let the owner know that everything's good with the guitar. I am giving it a complete fret level. In fact, it's had a complete fret level. And I'm just going to proceed with the work. He did assume it wanted one anyway, so there's no point sending him an appraisal video. You'll see it all in this completed video at the end anyway. So pleased with how this is going. Going to get the fingerboard taped up. Once it's taped up, I'll bring you back in and we're going to crown these frets. Make a small apology for the light because it is dark outside. We are still just going into spring. But we're going to crack on with crowning these frets. So imagine these frets going this way. Now we've levelled the frets, so going this way we've flattened the tops where they once had this, what we call a crown, going that way. Imagine a D shape, letter D, capital D on its side, and we need to rebuild that crown. And there's a couple of ways we can do it. Well, this is the best way. In the old days we'd have taken a 3-cornered file, so an equilateral triangle shaped file with the edges ground smooth, and we'd have angled it as we filed, and this side would have gone that way, and we'd have rebuilt that by hand. We don't have to do that anymore. I've got 2 files here that I use, and this one being the most expensive, from Stumac. It's a diamond file. It's got 2 special cuts on there, and I'll explain them in a second. This cost me £125, this file. It's worth its weight. Fantastic. So if you look, top side it's got a shallow angle but a long cut. Bottom side it's got a steep angle but a short cut, and you turn it 180 degrees. It's got the opposite, closest to you a long cut, shallow, and a deep cut but short. So it does the same. What this does is this will cut, just imagine one side of the fret. There's the fret, and we're going to build that. It'll cut one long and one short on opposite sides. And as we file, it will not touch the top of the fret. So we're going to leave a thin black line on top of the fret, and the crown is going to be rebuilt, leaving that top line round about 1/2 millimetre thick, probably a bit less. But the good thing about that is it means we don't remove the tops. Now the reason we don't want to remove the tops is we know these frets are level along the whole length of the neck. So I'm going to show, it's better to show you than it is to explain. So we'll take the file. It's a diamond file, by the way. If you don't know what that is, go look it up on the internet. Diamond fret file. That's one side done. Thick black line. Turn it over 180 degrees. And there you go. Thin black line over the top. Still go a little bit thinner than that. Always clean the file. But that has rebuilt that crown. And because these are a straight cutting file, it's kind of that arc now, that crown is kind of staggered, so we're going to smooth it off with this, and this is shaped perfectly to the top of the fret. It's actually a crowning file or a profiling file, and this is already the right shape. And I'm just going to go across with this one. I need to replace this one soon. It's got a bit of clegg in there. I think that's some lacquer from the last job I did. But anyway, this one we'll just smooth it over. And that has rebuilt that beautiful crown we're looking for. And that's fantastic. We'll do the same again on the next one along, just to show you how it's done. Again. And then I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to whiz across and get these done tonight. Like I said, these frets are getting pretty low now, so any lower than this I won't be able to work them. And there's that black line down the centre. And we're just going to and that's it, those two are done. And just to check, so we've not removed any height, so we're not going to get a rock anywhere. It's still perfectly level, but we have rebuilt that crown. I'm going to do the rest of them, 20 more to do. I think once that's done, I'm going to call it a day for today. Saturday night, it's 7:40 in the evening. I'll not be working tomorrow, I never work Sundays. But I'll get these done, and once that's done, I'm going to put this away. Probably come back to this probably Tuesday. I've got other jobs on that came in before this. Just wanted to make a start on this today. So, frets, and well, you obviously know they're levelled. We're now levelled and crowned, and we're now going to polish them. And how we polish the frets is 7 different grits of sandpaper: 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. They're your 6 different grits. was supposed to be 6. Am I missing one or are some stuck together? Yeah, there you go, stuck together. So there's your 6 grits. Before I do that, I'll go over with some 400. And the 400 is used primarily to remove the deep scratches because we're sanded that way or filed that way. And we're going to basically, where's my glove? Here's my glove. I always adapt the latex glove, cut the thumb out and 2 fingers out because I'm going to polish them with these 2 fingers. This helps us to keep a grit. And this 400 grit is thicker than regular paper, and what's good about it is it's going to remove the scratches this way just by going over the top, and that's as much as it takes to remove those deeper scratches. And now that one's ready for polishing, so I'm going to whiz across this piece of 400. This just makes them all a lot easier to polish because the scratches are more or less gone. Now by polishing, we're not just bringing them up to a shine by polishing, we're actually removing scratches. It's why we go with a finer grit each time. By the time we've gone up to a 2000 grit, all of the scratches would have been removed. And the frets will be really wanting to shine. To make the shine or bring the shine right out, we'll go over with some extra fine steel wool after we've done these, well, in effect 7 different polishes with 7 grits of paper. So we're going to be polishing 8 lots. 22 frets, 8 times 22 I believe is 176, so I've got 176 frets to polish. It's going to take me a while. It is quite boring. I'll stick some music on or some audio on, either way, to help me pass the time. But I'm going to crack on with this, and then we'll come back when we get to the steel wool stage, and you can see how wonderful these frets look. And here are the frets all polished, and normally I would finish off with the steel wool, which I will do in time, but not right now. There's a reason I'm not going to do them right now. It's because I've been through with the 7 grits of paper. They are looking lovely. Now if I finish off with the finest grade steel wool, they'll look even lovely. In fact, they'll look amazing. They'll be glass-like, super shiny, super smooth. They'll be amazing. But the reason I'm not doing them now is I'm going to be working on the underside of the guitar. Let's go that way. I'm going to be installing pickups, pots and what have you, and the guitar is going to be wrong way around. Why I'm going to be working in the cavity as well. I've got plenty of things to drill in here. I've got things to ream and route out so I can fit the preamp in there. That's a delicate job, but the guitar is going to be face down, so there's no point in finishing the frets off and keep turning them over and dropping them in grime and scratching them and pulling it about. So I will leave the tape on and I'll polish the frets with the steel wool later when everything else has been done. But yeah, they look fantastic, they're super smooth, and the steel wool just brings that shine right out. Absolutely wonderful. So the neck will play like a brand new neck. It'll be amazing. One thing I've not done is suggested a new nut. Maybe we could have gone with a new nut, but the old one's alright. It's a good tough plastic, very hard plastic, more of a resin than a plastic, I think. So we're going to stick with that. It's not going to alter anything. But yeah, I'm going to move on to the next part, and I'm probably going to drill a hole here for the EQ. Now I've positioned where I want it. I've put a little mark in there. I'm going to drill through with 2mm drill bit. I'm going to come out somewhere around here, and what I've got to do with then is I've got to basically route a bit of this out because this is too thick. The actual EQ itself sticks out the back of the cavity. I need to drop this in at about 1.5 millimeters, maybe 2 millimeters. Now I'm thinking it's about, that's about 1, 2, 3. It's about 5 millimeters thick here, so I need to go in 2 millimeters and leave it to about 3 millimeters thick. I'm not worried, it's just I've never done it before. I don't know whether to use a forced bit or just use a chisel and spin a chisel in there, do it by hand. I'm probably going to have a go at doing it by hand because I don't want to go, if I go too far through there, through this cavity, I'm going to come out the other side and it's going to knacker the guitar. So more about that in a minute anyway. Little update on the SG. I drilled the hole for the booster, but in the back I had to get in there with a forced bit to drill a small round hole, deep enough, not too deep. I don't want to bust through the other side of the guitar, so I've gone within about 3 millimeters of going through. So a nice round hole there to fit the EQ. But to chisel out this little bit, the square bit, so I can fit the booster in there, and just so it doesn't hit the back plate. Otherwise the back plate wouldn't fit down, so that's all going to fit nicely. It is going to be a very tight fit in there. I'm going to have to do the wiring and make sure I'm going to get all the wiring done, bar the last thing I'm going to put in is going to be the EQ booster, or the signal booster. It'll be the last thing I do put in. Now fortunately the wires are really quite long. I've already looked at that, so it's all going to go in pretty well. I do think that this is the best place for a switch. You can just hit it here and there between the two volume knobs, the two tone knobs there, and your three-way selector there. I would have liked a three-way selector up there on this, even give you more room, but anyway, end of the day it's going to be fine. Yeah, looking pretty good. Very nice looking guitar. So that's held me back today. I've got to go in now and I've got to paint this cavity with some shielding paint. I do have a pot of good shielding paint in the cupboard over there. Going to get that a good shake in a minute. Give us 3 or 4 coats on this area. I was going to put some glue on there, reinforce it, but I'm going to get the conductive paint on there first. Then I might put a little bit of epoxy in there, just a coat of epoxy to keep everything nice and hard for when I put the EQ in, because I may go without a washer because I need more of it sticking out the top. I need more room at the back. One thing I've done, which was unplanned, is I have cracked the back control plate. No big deal. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fine. If needs must, I could always replace it, but I think it'll be fine. It's an old guitar. It's not really important. But we'll see how we go with that. I could even take it off my SG, take the back plate off my SG and put it on there. It makes no difference to me. I've got plenty of material to make another one as well, so I could also do that. Anyway, leave that with me. I will sort that out. But I'm going to crack on, get that painting done, get it all reinforced. Once it's reinforced, I'm going to get the electrics, get them all fitted. I must also remember I've still got to finish off polishing these frets and remove the tape off there. So something, like I said, we will do later. So I'm going to crack on. Back in a bit. Morning friends, it is just after 7 AM and we are ready to install the electrics in this guitar. I have painted up the, bear with me a second, let's give that a wipe inside. I've painted up the inside cavity with 2 more layers of, what's it called? Not insulating paint, but I'll tell you in a minute. This Gubbins guitar shielding, conductive shielding paint, blah 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 blah. Gave us a jolly good mix. Painted up the area I need to, where we're going to install the EQ booster or the preamp booster in there. I've added a little more on these areas. I've also carved out a little area there on the plate just so the booster sits in there neatly, and I've taped up with some insulating tape. I do need to, however, join these parts together with some solder, so I'll heat up my soldering iron shortly, make sure every part of this is conductive, and this area here will hit the painted areas here. So we're going to have basically a Faraday cage on the back, fully insulated, not absolutely necessary with humbuckers, but it's something I do as a matter of course. I've also tied up the old earth wire from a bridge. You don't have to earth active pickups. You don't need an earth, so I'm going to take that down there, out of the way, and I'm ready to install the electrics. So I'm going to get everything out. There's my instructions. So it's going with the KFK, the Kerry effing King pickups. I'm going to get these installed, and I will come back and show you how we get on quite soon. A couple of things when you're installing the EMG set. Your input jack may not be wide enough, so we're going to have to ream that out. You also want to leave space in the centre for the actual routing, not routing jig, but basically the main centre console where everything plugs into. And make sure you've got room in here somewhere. That will fit by means of double-sided sticky tape and Velcro. So you already have that on the bottom there. Double-sided sticky tape, 2 pieces of Velcro. That will fit there in that gap. We're also going to fit the booster in this hole here, which I made. So we've got plenty of room for everything. But something else I like to do and prep for, well, this is the hole where the input jack goes. You do get an input jack with it. There was no soldering on the input jack. All these lugs here, you get a push on. You get push on wires somewhere. Where are we? There you go. They've got push on clips on there. We're going to widen that hole in a moment. I'm going to be using a reamer, which I have. You do get the input jack. However, you do not get a three-way selector. So I'm going to use the original one. I'm going to desolder everything on there. I'm actually going to use this one. The only soldering we need to do is on this three-way. We need to solder the earth wire on the back end and the 3 wires, one for bridge pickup, one for neck pickup, and one for hot. I will be going with the colour scheme on the diagram. It makes everything easier. So we'll be adding a black for the earth, red for the neck pickup, white for bridge pickup, and green for the output. There you can see that there. So I'll be copying that colour scheme, and I'll leave the ends of these bare, ready to plug in to the little unit there. And those wires go in here, in this order: bridge, neck, output, and common or earth there on the black. So really, really simple to do. Something else I like to do is, well, I'm going to prep the three-way. I've not done it yet. I will get this desoldered from here. I'll get it prepped and I'll add the wires to it. And all we have to do then is, when we fit it to there, it's just by means of 3 little screws on there, and we just clamp them in. So we're going to make sure we get the ends tinned. That's really easy. Something else I like to do is, when I have the pickups on the pickup rings, I like to cover the pickups just so we don't scratch them when we're installing them. Here's the bridge one, and I've still left the cap on there for the quick connect cable. So we'll leave the caps on just so we don't damage anything or scratch anything up. But I will be fitting the cables shortly. So just cover them with tape. Another reason we're covering with tape is, don't forget, I've still got to polish these frets. That's why I've left the tape on there. I've not polished them with the steel wool yet. So that will be the final job, or definitely one of the later jobs. So yeah, really, really simple to do this. You just need to be methodical. You need to think it through. But what we're going to do now is we're going to ream this hole, and I think that's going to be too close to a table, which it is. So what I need to do really is, you may be able to see, you may not. I'm just going to bring the guitar over here, and I will move the camera so you can see exactly what I'm doing. You see, I don't edit my videos, so they don't look super professional. I may in the future go a little bit more pro, but for now, all I'm going to do is going to take the reamer, and we're just going to ever so slightly and ever so gently ream this hole. We don't want to go mental, just a little at a time. Take the jack, very, very nearly there. I think I'm going to ream this one back in a minute. Let's go a little bit wider here. Very gently, we don't want to crack anything. Now if you add lacquer or paint around here, chances are if you go at it gung-ho, you're going to crack something. There you go, and we are in. Now just feel around the other side. Wow, that's not going to need any washer on there at all, because that cavity is quite tight. We may not even get a washer on here. Just going to push it through, see where we are. I've installed these, but we will get a washer on there. That is fantastic news. So let me just grab the washer. Okay, bear with me, this may be a little bit awkward. I can't really get in a position where I can show you what I'm doing, but you may be able to see there, I don't know. Can you? Yeah, you can see a little. Just stick the washer on there. Is there a flat side to these nuts that go on there? I'm not quite sure. I normally always assume there's a flat side, so. No, we're not. Oh, well, we're going to get that on there. I'll add that in a little bit skew width. Let's try again. And we are in. Just going to turn around, just have a look. Each lug is accessible. I do have a great little device. This is one for pulling, removing control knobs, and it is also a universal nut tightener. Right, let's see where we are. And we have all lugs exposed. We have it nice and tight. All these lugs are exposed so we can install everything, and we are just going to just give that one more nip with this. See where we are. And I'm thinking that that is pretty good. And that's it, we are in. So we have all the controls in, bar the booster there. I will be installing the preamp booster last. So what I need to do first is make sure everything gets in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the three-way selector, I'm going to get it, I'm going to strip it from that other loom, I'm going to solder the wires to it. Once everything's ready to install, I will bring you back in and we'll get the pickups in and we'll start getting all this wire together. One thing I forgot to mention, when you're installing the pickups, make sure you get this cable in the correct way. So this is, let me get this right. I've got that the wrong way around. I might have this installed the wrong way. No, I haven't. Installed the right way. So make sure the red is on the left side and you've got a little marker on the red, like a little arrow there. Just make sure that goes the right way around. The best bit about finishing up fret polishing is removing the tape, and I've just finished final polish with extra fine steel wool. Just going to brush everything off. Notice that the pickups were covered so we didn't get any steel wool filings on the pickups or anything. Pickups are all installed, all the electrics installed, everything's been tested, the booster switch is all working. So I've just got up, finished polishing my frets. I want to leave that till last because I wanted everything done at this end. Otherwise, if I've got his polish and I'm turning the guitar over this way, over that way, we'd have scratched these frets up again. We didn't want that, so remove that dust cloth out of the way. Oh, I've glued the nut back in, by the way. Not a problem there. And this is why I put a strip of tape down the side of the guitar. It helps us slightly. I mean, when it's been on 3-4 days like this, it's not easy to get off anyway. But it's a little bit better. See how it all rips up, look. You want as much help as you can get when you're removing this stuff. Now normally if I was doing this in a one-day job, it'd be a lot easier to remove this tape. It's supposed to be low-tack tape, this. You could have fooled me. But yeah, best part of the job, I mean, revealing the frets and seeing what a great job you made of them. This guitar looks, I don't know how many percent better than when it came in. It was in a bit of a state when it came in. But when it gets it back, it'll look like a new guitar. There you go. Now we're making progress. Not finished with the neck yet. I'm going to spray it with mineral oil. You know, it's lemon oil, just to get a little bit of moisture in the wood. Treat the wood, clean it, get any residue of any unscour or anything left or detritus left in there. It is relatively clean. I think I did clean it before I put the I started working on the frets. I mean, it looks fantastic. Let me just give you a quick glimpse of the frets now. And there you go, don't they look amazing? We're just gonna find something to shield this end of the guitar. Just gonna spray some oil on there. So lemon oil. It's not Kaiser brand. I kept this bottle because it's got a spray on it. And all we're gonna do is we're just gonna quick thin coat of mineral oil, let it soak in 5-10 minutes, wipe it off, and the guitar will be ready for stringing. This is going to lift any crap off the wood. It's also going to treat the wood a little bit. I recommend you do this at least once a year, maybe once every 6 months when you're changing your strings or whatever, just to clean all the crap off, get all the grime and sweat and dead skin off there. Now we're going to be sticking some strings on this, some really fat strings. I believe the low string is going to be a 6.2. I've never tried to put a 62 on one before. I think the lowest I've got is about 56, which I've stuck on my own guitars. I don't like super fat strings. I can get down to drop A sharp with a 1254 set, 1256 set. So, but we do have, I don't know if it is, look, it's a 1262 set, that's what's going on. So let's have a look at 62, see if it fits in the hole. I don't know if it does or not. If it doesn't, we're going to have to drill this tuning peg. I don't think we need to go this low, or this fat. It's like a bloody clutch cable. Let's have a look. My goodness. Okay, let's have a look. Does it go through? No. Yeah, just. It does go through. Oh, there you go. That's alright. We're going to be alright. Thank God for that. Saves me faff later about later, doesn't it? So there's the strings. Just whiz these back in the pack. So I'm going to leave about 10 minutes. I'm going to go and find something else to do. We've got plenty to do in this workshop. Jobs galore. So that's the strings. Put this one back up. I'm going to show you the electrics in a second. Now they're all done. But very, very straightforward getting the electrics done. The hardest part was the preamp booster, because I had to route the body. I had to get in there with chisels and a force and a bit. Being very, very careful to do so. I've not charged extra for that. Should have done, but you know. So, bear with me a second. Got some tape stuck to my finger. Get off. Get the heck off. Right. So I can remove the tape for pickups now. Brand new pickups. If you don't know where your 81 and 85 go, well, remember your 81's your bridge pickup, and that's got silver writing on it. Your 85 has got gold writing on it. That goes here. Neck pickup. Silver, gold. You'd have thought it will wear around, wouldn't you? But it don't. Beautiful. So now they've got marks on them, I haven't touched them. Anyway. Let's have a look inside the control cavity. Now the cavity bust through. I fixed it, some super glue, and I've also insulated this. The stuff that was on there was not insulated at all. It was crap. It's not insulated at all. This is proper copper tape insulated. I've daubed every joint with a little bit of solder, just so we've got perfect continuity there. We've got shielding paint there. Like so, and let me show you the electrics, and it does look, well, it don't look untidy, it's how it always looks, but I had to make room for the battery here. This is my battery, so the EQ, the main controller is in there. All the wires from the three-way are there. Three-way, I insulated every single connection, so it's not going to touch anything. This is your booster in there, with it's got a trim pot there. I've tried that, that works absolutely fine. It's just low enough for the plate to miss it, so everything in there is out of the way. I wish I'd shown you the three-way. I'd insulated every single connection on there. I'll try and get it up to the camera. Every little connection on there is properly insulated with heat shrink wrap, so it's not touching anything. It all comes around this way onto there. I've not taped that down, I just left that loose. Battery's also loose. I'll put some sponge under the battery. You're not getting that battery, that's my battery. I've just put it in there just to test the guitar. So everything in there is looking fantastic. I'm only going to put in one screw on the back plate whilst my battery's in there, just so we can test the guitar. I'm just going to put the holes in here as well. The reason I'm doing this is I've not pierced the copper tape yet. While we're waiting for that mineral oil to do its stuff. Because I will get to play this while the guy picks it up. Obviously, because I've got to test everything, which is great for me. I think he wanted me to try and get down to B standard, which I will do. I dare say I could get to drop A if I wanted. The guitar certainly looks the part. Okay, so I think we'll leave that one there long enough. Do the wipe off. If there's any marks on the pickups, that's off the tape. There's tape residue on there. It's not a mark. So that's fantastic. It's good news. Frets look brilliant. Well, one thing I'm going to have to do as well, I'm going to cut the nut slots wider. Strings are 62. I don't even have a 62 file. I'm going to rub a 56 and a 10 together. I'll put a 56 in and angle it. So we are ready to restring the thing. That's exactly what I'm going to do now. Trust me to get your finger marks all over here. I'm polishing them in all night now. Good stuff. A lovely looking guitar. There you go. So let's look at the nut slots. That should be wide enough for that string. Let's have a look. I wonder if my tuner will pick up lower notes. Headstock. Same with the headstock. I've got some oil over there, mineral oil. Good thing about mineral oil is it's a really good cleaner. Oh, one thing I've not done, I've tightened every screw. I've tightened the all the screws on the tuners here. I've not done these knots on the machine head, on these posts. I'm just going to do that now. Just give me a second. Grab a 10mm spanner. Believe it or not, I have a Stumac 10mm spanner. I have a set of 3 spanners from Stumac. These gubbins here. This should be a 10mm. We just need to check these. Yeah, we do need a little nip. Yeah, a little bit loose. So this is a Kerry King signature set of EMGs. I'll put it in the box, I'll put it back in this guitar case. And gubbins there. I've put all his old pots and everything in there, back in that box there. EMG KFK set. I'd imagine they're just a standard EMGs. I don't think they're specially voiced anything. But anyway, let's get some strings on here. Not big tuners these, so I'm not going to get a lot of. I'm not going to go around the post, but you know what? That's not going to work. Not that way. Not on this fat string. We'll have to go in this way. I normally go in the back because it gives me a wrap, but that ain't going to have it. So If I get one full wrap out of this, I'll be quite happy. Fat strings this. Oh, I can get more than that round there, surely. That's not enough. That's not enough, guys. Let's bring that back. I want more of a wrap than that. I want at least one full wrap. There you go. Let's go there like that. I'm one of these old-fashioned types. I do like wraps around posts. I'm not for these locking tuners. They don't lock you in tune, they just lock the string. They don't think for 1 second they just lock your tuning in. Keep it stay in tune, it's not for that. It just locks the string, that's all it does. That's where I want to be. That's like a bike cable. Goodness me. Like a hecking clutch cable that. See where about sorry is on the Richter scale there. C sharp. Very sharp. It's come to a B. It's not even registering that. Not registering at all, so let's see where we are. I would have thought if we get this down to B, I'm quite happy with that. He says because he wanted it tuned down because he doesn't play a 7 string. That's a B. That's where we want to be. Check the intonation. It's flat, so we need to go that way. Need to check the string height there. That string's a bit loose for me. I am going to widen this slot because I don't think that's sat right down in the slot. It can't be because it's not wide enough. Let's take a fat, I don't know what fattest one is I have. I definitely don't have a 62. I think the fattest one I have is a 56. These are, there's a 56. Not slotting files. See where I've got close. 48, I'll have a 50 for it. Where's a 50 for a 48? Next one we're going to have a 34. I will definitely have a 36 for a 34. That's close enough. Then we're going to want a 24, a 16 or a 12. That's good because I've got a 26. Have I got a 26? No, 24 wound. So I want a 36. Got a 50, 36. That's fine. 24, 16, 12. I do have a 24. Sure I do. 24. So I don't have a 12. I have a 13. That's good enough. And I do have a 16. Bear with. Okay. So for a 62 I'll be using a 56, but I'll angle it that way and that way to make it wider. For a 48 I have a 50. For a 34 I have a 36. For a 24 I have a 24. For a 16 I have a 16. And for a 12 I have a 13. So they are all absolutely fine. Bar the fattest one. So what we're going to do is we're going to set fattest one I've got, 56. And just check. These are a proper nut slotting file. They have a perfect U shape. These are made specifically for cutting nut slots. That's a 0.056 of an inch. I'm not going to cut any depth, I'm just going to cut width. Just need to widen it. Don't need to deepen it yet. Because we just need that string to sit in there proper. Just so. Okay, set. the intonation. Right, okay. Intonation's about right. We do have the action a little bit low. I'm just going to check the action. Because we're tuning down so much, I'm going to set the action to about 2mm at the 12th fret. I normally go 1.75 on a standard tuning. So we're measuring the height between the top of the fret, 12th fret, and the bottom of the string. That's the gap. And we are a little bit low there. About 1.7, 1.8. So we're just going to bring this up a little bit. Oh mate. Always go a little bit higher with a fatter string. Well, exactly 2mm there. That's pretty good. Quite happy with that. Good stretch. Keep stretching as much as you can out of these strings when you're setting up. It's going to stay in tune later. I myself the strings this fat, but I've tuned down to drop A sharp. Perfect, that is very good. So we're in. We're going to put the first string on in a minute, the high E, because that way I can set the height to the 12th fret there as well. So let's go with the 12. I'm just going to dump them over there out of the way. Because once I've got both heights set, that's it, the rest is done. Certainly going to look the part, this guitar. I have a Korean SG. Mine's a little bit better than this. Mine's tanning colour, but mine has binding, which I didn't know. And they sold it for a stupidly cheap price, and I saw a binding on it. Went and checked, and the binding only came on the 2003 to 2005 model, so it's quite rare. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to hold fire on that a little bit. But the reason I mentioned the guitar is I did the same as this is having. I put an 8184. In fact, I put an 8160 set of EMGs on there with all the gubbins, all the solderless kit, and it was brilliant. And then I thought I'm going to sell it because I don't need it. I bought 4 guitars this year. I thought I'd do it up and sell it. And someone asked me if I just sold the pickups on their own. So I sold the pickups. I think I sold £100. With all the gubbins, all the solderless pots, pans, cups, vases, you know, all the electrics, all the wiring and everything, for let them go for £100. So now that guitar is sat there with its binding, with no strings on, no pickups in. I'm going to put the original pickups back in, I think. I'll level the frets, and I think I'm going to move it on. I might refresh it, I don't know. I might refresh it and keep it, it depends. So we want this to be a B as well, because we're just going B standard tuning. It's about there. So give this string a stretch. I know I've got to set the truss rod on that yet, but get them closed. a little bit sharp, means we need to move the saddle away. Remember, it's at the 12th fret. If your note, fretted note, is sharp, move the saddle to the right. Sharp and right, I've got 5 letters. If a note here is flat, 4 letters, we'll move it to the left, 4 letters. So, if it's flat, move the saddle left. If it's sharp, move the saddle right. We are a little bit sharp there, so we're going to move the saddle to the right. So a couple of, there you go, anti-clockwise turns. Perfect. Making sure that this sits nicely in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check the height above the first fret, and they're quite high, so I need to cut these fret slots quite a lot because we've got a massive gap on the first fret. So always when you're doing a setup, I'm always looking at more than one thing. Now, we mentioned string height above the first fret. Normally on a regular setup I'd be going about 0.3 millimeters at this end. That's a gap from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string, and about 0.2 that end. But because we're down tuning and we've got fatter strings on, I'm going to go about 0.4 here. That's a gap from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string. Now, always in millimeters over here in England, faffing about we 8/64 or whatever of inches. But that is massively high, that knot. That is at least a mil too high. Best guitar's been right load of crap to play. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this nut slot and we're going to go straight in there. We're not going to faff with that. I need to get this quite a bit deeper than it is. So I'm going a little bit gung-ho at it. But this file does remove a lot of material in one go, so let's not go absolutely mental. So a fair old ways to go with that. At an angle, you see, just to widen the slot. Always take little off and keep coming back and checking. See, look at that, fits that slot beautiful. Back with your feeler gauge. Just starting to buzz. I can do a little bit more. Again, at an angle. This is only a plastic nut, so let's not go mental at it. It's quite easy to go too deep. And that fits that slot beautifully. Do me, and on this side we're going to go for about 0.3. Now because we're lowered down here, we're going to be lower at the 12th fret. So not worry about that just yet. We can sort all that out on the bridge. Once I've got the, I want the 2 outside strings doing. So I'm going to look for about 0.3 on the far side there on the first string. Same again, that's a gap from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string. And we're a little bit high there, so we're going to take the correct file. We can put this one away. Now, before we put these away, always give them a wipe, clean them. Otherwise, they're going to be dull and they're going to have clay in there. Best to get your wire brush on them and give them a proper brushing. I will do that in a short while. For now, I'm just going to put it back in its case. I'm going to move on to the next one. So the outside string we're looking at is a 12, so we're going to use a 13. Nothing in that. And we're just going to, again, just gentle, slightly flare it. Don't have to go gung-ho. You end up cutting too deep, you can replace in that knot. That costs money and takes time. just buzzing. I'm quite happy with that. So that's that one done. Let's nip these ends off. And now what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to check the height at the 12th fret. Now I've also, remember, I've not set the truss rod yet. So it's not imperative I set the height, it just gives me an idea of where I'm going to be when the setup's done. Okay, well I've done that action gauge. There you go. Always happens, you put it down, you can't find it. So let's see where we are. So on this side, we're way too. Now we've cut that nut slot, we've dropped right down again. So we are going to bring bridge up considerably. Same here. Just checking the stop tail piece, making sure the saddles are way up, that's fine. Again, 12th fret, still a little bit low, so I'm going to bring it up again. I'm going to check again at the 12th fret, that's 2 mil, that's brilliant. I'm going to check the far side at the top E string, that's 2 mil, that's too high. So we're just going about 1.7 on the first string. Could even go maybe a little bit lower than that. Right, we are about 1.7, that's perfect. Brilliant. Plenty of clearance above that first fret on both strings. Could probably go lower. We'll check, we'll see that. We'll check all of that once I've got all the strings on and we've got the truss rod set, everything up to tension. I'm going to need a new one of these things, this is falling to bits. This did originally come with cork on there, that disintegrated over time. This I'll put on with double-sided sticky tape, it's just rubber. But I think I'm going to go and get a new one. I've got to get something a little bit better than this. Because this is just falling off every time I use it. So there you go, so I'm going to crack on, do exactly the same, cut the nut slots, get everything set. Once I'm ready for setting everything, well in fact I'm not, I'm going to do it off camera, I'm going to set the truss rod, set the action above the 12th fret, we'll cut the slots where they need to be above this first fret, and then everything else should just fall into place. I'll be doing the intonation as well, you know exactly what I'm doing, I've just shown you all of it. I'm going to get it all done, get it all set up, bring the pickups up to the correct height, and we'll be ready to give this a test. So we will have to plug it in and have a little listen. But I'm going to crack on off camera. Oh, one thing I meant to mention, the preamp booster, I could only install it the way I have installed it, and the problem with that is in the up position it is on, in the down position it's off. You'd normally want it off, on, but no, it's not the case. Off, it is off, on. So down is off, up is on. I'm hoping the guy remembers it. He'll remember it because you'll know, because you want to get a 20 decibel boost on that, you'll hear it. But that's it, I'm going to crack on. I'll come back and give you an update in a bit. And here we are, friends, we are all done. Nice project, very enjoyable. The only thing I haven't done is I haven't put all the screws at the back of the control plate in because it's my battery in there. And when the guy comes to pick it up, I'm going to be taking my battery out, so I've tried to bring a battery with him. And he's not coming today, which is typical because I've rushed to get his guitar done today because he messaged going, how much more you got to do, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, he's eager to get this, I'll get it done today. He ain't got the money. Can't afford to pay for it. So I says, well, there you go. So I'll keep it out of the guitar till he comes and fetches it. But that aside, I know I'm going to get paid anyway, so no big deal. But let's recap what we've done with this guitar. Well, it came in, it was in the right state, it was filthy. The frets were all over the place, it needed a complete fret level, so we knocked the nut off. We've levelled the frets, recrowned them and polished them, put the nut back on. We've had all of the electrics out, all of the pickups, everything, all the pots, the pans and whatever. And we've installed these two EMGs. It's an 81-85 set, the Kerry King set, and it does have a preamp booster there. Unfortunately, I've had to wire it in backwards. It's the only way I could get it in the cavity. So down is off, up is on. Works really well actually. I've had it plugged in, I've got it tuned to, I've got some massive strings on here, 62 12 set or 1262 set. Got it tuned down to B standard, so it's down 5 semitones there. So you'll be able to replicate his favourite 7-string songs, I imagine. It could change this to a drop A just by detuning this string, the bass string. So yeah, really good. Very, very nice look. You see it's cleaned up really nice. Everything's been checked. I've tightened every nut, bolt, screw, whatever. Strap pins back on, tightened both strap pins. All new electrics in there. I could just show you back inside the cavity again, can't I suppose. I've also I've recoated the whole of the back cavity with thingy paint. What do you call it? Always forget. Conductive shielding paint, that's the one. I was going to turn that upside down. And there you go, here's all the electrics. All new in there, everything solderless, but I had to solder the 3-way, all nicely insulated there. This is the preamp. You can alter it by means of adjusting this little adjuster there. But that's it. I didn't take that in either, I've left that hanging loose, so you've got room for the battery in there. The battery doesn't rattle about, you thought it might do, but it doesn't. So that's all the electrics in there. So that is it, it is done. I'm just going to plop this on really quickly while I talk absolute nonsense for a few more minutes. So I'll just show the, I've insulated all that, as you do, shielded that. I'm not charged for that. Again, yeah, nice guitar. Not my kind of thing anymore, would have been a few years back. It would have definitely been my thing a few years back, but outgrown them. Just checking everything there. So yeah, beautiful. There is a ding on my neck I noticed earlier. Down here somewhere, there you go. Must have been there when it came in, but that's it, it is all done. Epiphone SG-400 SG, beautiful guitars, I've got all of these myself. Really nice thing, Chinese made one, bit of a later one, but it's all done. I'm ready to move on to the next project. So, without further ado, I'll wrap this one up. I'll just remind you of our website, facebook.com/ng17, that's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. I'm Victor, I'm your fret friend, and until next time, as always, God bless you, be good to each other. I'll see you in the next one.